Thank you, Luna. So I'm just going to do a very high-level, very brief introduction, so I'm not getting too deep in the details, but the whole idea is keep my talking to the minimum, the council members, and give the talking and the input to you folks. So it was 2012 that we opened the first phase of the Snoqualmie Community Center. This is a city-owned community center that's operated by the YMCA, and it's been a wildly successful partnership with the YMCA. In fact, the typical YMCA around the country's goal or target, they get about an 8% participation rate from those within their service area. Snoqualmie is over 40%. It is the second highest participation rate in the country, and that's second to a full service, a large full service with a pool facility in Wichita, Kansas. So it's really off the charts in terms of the participation and success here. We loved the partnership with them because they were one of the few agencies when we looked for a partner that served all ages and pretty much effectively did a lot of what we would have done with a city-run community center. Phenomenal record of success in running everything from gyms to pools and all the programming in between. Phenomenal regional resources far outside of the local center in terms of camps and other facilities that our children and families can access. They, and a low risk, they take off our general fund budget, or about a $1.8 million burden that would otherwise be paid by taxpayers to run such a facility. And then accessibility, of course, if you're in a membership model, is always an issue, and then people can't access the facility. But what we liked about the Y is in their mission statement, they absolutely want to assure that no person is ever turned away due to cost. So any family that has a concern or need can simply address that with them, and they will find a way to make that facility accessible to them. And then lastly, this community center simply would not exist if not for the history of the old warehouse-run community center, or YMCA-operated community center at the old Snoqualmie Falls town that used to be at the mill site. And it was the experience that folks that grew up here had of that being the social center of the valley that was infused into the vision of Snoqualmie Ridge and resulted in what you see today. So it was kind of wonderful with that partnership. It came full circle about 100 years later, almost exactly 101 years later now to that history. So why look at expansion at this point? We're busted at the seams. You can see that the population has grown 27% since we built the first phase. It's about a third of the size of what we originally assessed the community needed when we built it at the time we did. It's 13,000 square feet. We think it needs to be about 3 times that size to service our community. There's no aquatics in the facility, and as you saw, an indicator that the facility is being a bit overrun and that people are backing up the calisthenics equipment, they can't find rooms to use, is the fact that the portable, which they call it the annex, I guess that makes it sound better, showed up this past year, as you noticed on the site, not the most attractive thing. So again, all the indicators we need to grow, both the dry space and the wet space. So on the dry space side of it, this is essentially, don't get too concerned like this is baked solid. What we're doing basically here is picking up a lot of the schematics that we had done back when we built the first phase. We knew that we needed and would want someday more of a facility, so we did an assessment of what some of those needs would look like and placed them in boxes around the site to assure that the current building was placed in such a way, in a size in a way that it would not preclude that future expansion. And so this is simply picking up where we left off and showing some general concepts. So this is the aquatics. The aquatics area is largely the 2 locker rooms here all the way down to the aquatics area where you see a 3-lane pool, a lap pool, and then a recreational pool here. And this is what I would call the Goldilocks formula for the YMCA. YMCA's around the region, they've run hundreds of these facilities around the country, the state, and the region, and they've really dialed in kind of that right size formula where everything isn't designed to drive maximum revenue, but at the same time you can't drive a lot of activities that don't drive revenue to make the facility sustainable. So you sort of have to find the right mix of programming to provide as much impact and benefit for the community as possible, but make it sustainable. You don't want to make it too big, you don't want to make it too small, you want to make it just right, the Goldilocks formula. And this is the Goldilocks formula that they would see in terms of the expansion, and this is what my administration is supporting for this, the basic sizes. So about 10,500 feet of expansion for aquatics areas, and then another 13,500 square feet for cardio and other multi-purpose rooms and facilities. And again, this is 13,000 square feet. The green is the existing, so it's essentially a doubling of the dry area. We do, I think, have some interest from there's some great alignments right now with the school district. There might be some resources from them. I think there's some interest. They'll be talking to the Sideview folks as well. but there's some interest in having aquatics. There's a lot of the athletic programs at the school. There's been millions of dollars investments in all those different athletic programs, but not in the aquatics programs. And so that's something I think that we're all taking seriously to look at. So what a partnership with the school district would involve would be have them come in and make a financial contribution to essentially offset the cost of adding 3 more lanes to bring that to a 6-lane pool, which is what would be necessary at a minimum to make that a competitive, or a place where a competitive high school aquatics team could practice and have some meets. And so essentially it would turn into 3 lanes. So that would expand it by about 3,500 square feet to a 6-lane pool. And again, much of the other components would remain largely the same. This is just some general, again, just real high-level conceptual drawings of what the facility could look like. And then another aspect that I think is exciting just to throw in that people are aware of that we're working on, we may, depending on grants from the state or the King County Parks Levy that's coming up, we may have an opportunity to pursue monies that we could roll this project into the community center expansion. Otherwise, we'll treat it separately. But this is right just a couple blocks down the street here. If you're at the corner of the school, where center comes down and meets Ridge, there's that flat grassy area that's rather mucky and muddy during the winter months. But it used to have the birch trees right between the tennis court and that flat area with the bowl. And the idea is, I think the vision from the original, when Snoqualmie Ridge was originally built, was to have that serve as an events plaza. And we want that events plaza also double on those hot summer days as a spray park. So you can see these basically fountains or spray features shooting up so kids could run around there. And because of its proximity to the community center expansion, it would be kind of a nice expansion of those aquatics aspects. So you have the spray park just outside, connected with the pool and the recreational aspects. And just here's a cutaway where it would be a stage right off the center or off Ridge Street, and with again the plaza and the bowl. And that's what you would see coming down Center Boulevard there, where the stage would be and so forth. And that's it. So like I said, high level, very cursory. And now we want to throw it back to you guys for further input, and I'll kick it back to Una to give further direction.